Hi there. My name is Heistad. I am the author to the books Soulworks Trilogy, Homecoming. I tried to skip this day. It is my infamous 1335th day. Wrote about it a few times, talked about it a few times. Had my guides bring awareness not that long ago that it's 2,000 days plus 1,335 since I first started gathering people to attempt to explain how I was living out biblical prophecy, which I call my biblical entanglement. Blessed are we who wait and arrive. I've been thinking long and hard about that over and over. I've been looking for new work. I have. I've been looking for new work because there's a part of me that just wants to get on with my life. And yet a part of me who knows I took a job a long time ago that I am here to fulfill. Fact. And if we've arrived at that time, what would I say? Because in my second book, when I talked about this date, in my personal timeline and the alignment of that happening, it was about publicly declaring that I knew I was here and showing up for us. Still working on figuring that out, I guess. I read an interesting article about how Jesus originally fulfilled prophecy and how he stood up in a temple and said, read a piece out of Isaiah and said, there, this is done now. Yeah, I don't think so, buddy. Why do I say that? Because for 13 years of my life, I've been literally living out portions of those scriptures. And I'm not here to declare myself above or below anyone. But if I were to officially arrive here and say, this has been fulfilled now, what would I say? What would I say as Heistad? And what would I say beyond that biblical era of knowing that it doesn't matter what happened back in the day or which person I was more linked to or what my historical connection was to that time? What would I say today? And why would that matter? It matters for a very specific reason in my mind. So that myself and all of society can move beyond the biblical era. And to move beyond that, people who are expecting and waiting for the alignments of actual fulfillments are still waiting and waiting and waiting. I've had the same reoccurring dream for many years now. It's of me being in a vehicle, my own vehicle, and passing the keys off to somebody else while they go and live my life. Over the last few years, it's changed slightly, where I'm in my vehicle and I'm driving and I keep my keys in my pocket, but I just go and move on. Now, vehicle in dreams is really interesting because that's life path. And so in the past, let's say I just let somebody else take that on, even though I knew it wasn't right. And let's say in this life, I'm at this point where I have fulfilled what I know I have fulfilled, and I wrote about it through many volumes, and then I keep my keys in my pocket and walk away. Well, that doesn't make much sense to me. I said that in the last video. That doesn't make sense to me to walk away. Society's waited too long. There are so many people in this world that have helped us to get to this time and this era. So if I was to roll into town on the 1335th day and declare something fulfilled, what would I declare fulfilled? So I opened up this version of the Bible I've been using, and this is funny because I don't remember doing this. But in here is a certificate of completion. I think this is hilarious. A certificate of completion for a conference for women. That made me understand something. What if we had to wait 2,000 years because society wasn't in the place to accept their woman who may have fulfilled prophecy? What if they weren't ready back then? And what if somebody else arbitrarily claimed to fulfill it, regardless of whether they had been through all the trauma or not? And what if they just kept their keys in their pocket and left the drama? Just a theory I'm tossing around. But I'm not going to worry about that. I'm going to worry about this life. And in this life, that reoccurring dream is that I am keeping my keys in my pocket while I move on with my life. And I'm out looking for work when I know damn well I already have a job to do. I'm a messenger of change, damn it. And all of society, but women in particularly, have worked far too hard to not cross that road and to not get to the other side of this biblical era. That's why I'm showing up today. Okay, so if I was to declare what I have fulfilled, where would I even start? God. Where would I even start? I have interesting little oddities in my life that I find interesting. Like, I was born and raised at a Davidson. Yeah, big deal. Lots of us were, hey? Well, I also came out of a place called Shiloh. Yep, that was kind of interesting, but hey, names are names. What does that mean? Well, I also had a pretty amazing fulfillment in the book of Isaiah while in a valley having scriptures quoted to me and fulfilling various components of that text. So that was interesting. Let's talk about the book of Daniel. Don't even get me started with the book of Daniel. Do you know, though, that without realizing how connected I was to that time, at my 49th birthday, 7 months and 10 days, I'm being corrected, that I said the countdown began. When I decided I was done being scared and was just going to start ripping this off like a band-aid, I announced the arrival of my book, Mastering Your Soul Works. 7 weeks later, the book arrived, where I declared that it was time to rebuild old belief systems and get rid of the sacrifice component of beliefs and understandings. 62 weeks after that, I had my sanctuary and metaphysical space all ready to be able to come out into the world. And declared that. I had also spent time cleaning it out. 2,300 days since my book launched. Second book. Unbeknownst to me, yet again, I asked for help. But I was completely rejected by the locals. Had to divide my space, let my sanctuary go, then had to close my business, selling off everything piece by piece. The remembrance of what happened back in the day arrived in my arms, also in scripture. And the timeline has been me and my books all along. Closed up the business, came home, left my keys in the pocket, ready to walk away. But I can hear myself being called. And I had made a promise to myself to tell my story. So I started the process in April of this year, 2025, of reading it out loud here online. I got to the 69th chapter and decided to cut it off there and leave it at that, and that I was still going to walk away. Then my guides rallied me again, and I went back for the 70th chapter with my revelation post, and the awareness of the biblical era having been this the biblical era having put women not only on the back burner and out of the equation, but left fighting. Fighting for their space of equality in this world and for their own involvement in the biblical era that was written out of the story. That was the 70th chapter. My guides call it the 70th week. In my personal timeline, I had already declared a 1260 day when I took back my seat. I call it my seat. Not really a seat. It is my place in the world. We all have a place, but I was claiming mine. Found out that I had done that again on a global scale. Global is on a global level. Nobody even knows I'm here yet. But at the 1260 mark, since the day I first started gathering people, I arrived online again to finish off the prophecy before I even realized that's what I was doing. 1290 days after I declared the countdown started, I had to come back on here, guided again, without even realizing that alignment. And I was going to let this one go, the 1335. 1,335 days since I said the countdown begins, and 2,000 days plus 1,335 since I first started gathering people, trying to make them understand that I know Scripture was written about me in this time. And again, I was willing to keep my keys in my pocket without even acknowledging that I just figured out I fulfilled prophecy again, and walk away. Until I got thinking about that 2,000 days. Do you know that theologians use the day in a year concept, which means that 2,000 days is the same as essentially saying 2,000 years. And if we've been waiting 2,000 years, plus an extra 1,335 days, since I first started gathering people to talk about the fact that I knew I had fulfilled prophecy, am I really going to just keep my keys in my pocket and walk away? No, I'm going to show up and declare it one more time. Three books compiled into one. That's prophecy, you know. Aspects of that being about my life, and then aspects of it being teachings and moving forward and remembering. That's prophecy as well, you know. And I know it's tricky because we're in the world of AI right now. But if you were to do a search on what components need to be fulfilled for the second coming, and you take away aspects of that fulfillment being given to Jesus, you might be surprised what you find. Because what you will find is a woman still fighting against the church age. What you will find is me. But I like to think an entire army of light workers behind me, here to make sure we don't go down that road ever again. That we put down the swords, that we put down the expectations of how this time will look, and we allow ourselves to close that chapter. I've been in a biblical loop for a long time, and I have been charting it, and I find this interesting because I know it was from me, and I've even had conversations about that lately, about how my keeping track of every time I was asked to stand up and work towards a different reality than the past, that I know I've been in a crazy biblical loop. So when I say I fucking well nailed that without any awareness of it, yeah, you don't even have to take my word for it. I don't even care. Go through it. Check the references. Check all the dates. I check those off more than I will ever understand. And why does it matter? Well, because we've been waiting for this time for a long time. And I could keep all of that in, but I have to let it go. And the other day I heard myself say I need to let it go. And I've always thought that that meant walk away. That's not what that means. That means let it out. Now, I'm not prepared for today. Nobody told me I was rolling into town, and I didn't even get the chance to get my donkey. I had no intention of getting a donkey. There's so many more fulfillments in there, in my life, and in the timeline that has been my entire soul works, that I don't have 1 ounce of doubt that I have been called here for a reason. And I know I say I show up and I'm here on my own authority, and that is true. That is very true. But I've been given a job. And my job is to be a messenger of change. And at the very least, I'm going to show up on the 1335th day just to make damn sure I was clear about that. Because I think our children and our children's children deserve a new reality. To all the mothers out there, do you hear me? It's the mama bear. She's coming out. We deserve a new reality. And maybe 2,000 years ago, society couldn't handle a woman messenger. But I kind of have faith in the fact that now we're ready. I do. And what would be my message? I don't know, I wasn't prepared for that as well. My book is thick. There's a lot of life lessons in there. But if I was just to say one thing, be kind. Be kind to yourself and all others. Rethink how much soul potential we all have the ability to exude and emanate. Reframe all the teachings of the past. Those we can let go. Those we can really let go. Stop giving your power and authority away. Believe in the soul essence within us all. Learn how to live in unity and harmonize. Don't let anybody ever tell you what you can or cannot accomplish. Well, I got my certificate today, so I mean, this is done. I have no idea when I even put that in there, and I honestly don't know what workshop I ever attended. I really like that showed up for me today. I do. Welcome to the new era. Welcome to the new era. Welcome to the beginning of golden ages, when we learn how to walk in peace and harmony. When we learn how to do the inner work, to see changes in the outer world, where we set down the past and welcome new beginnings with open arms. Yep. My mind is going through all the points of fulfillment that I know I haven't even talked about. It's okay to keep things in the closet sometimes. It's okay. I think we all deserve our own unique expression of fulfillment, of our own life path. This has never been about me. This has been about the world moving into our new beginnings together. My being here today is simply that I was to deliver the message. Consider my arrival at this time a acknowledgement, because you don't have to believe that I've fulfilled scripture. Some will never believe that, and that's okay. It has more to do with acknowledging it's okay if nobody understands you, acknowledging that it's okay to have your quirkiness and your own life path and your own journey in your own way, acknowledging that we all make it through our own personal revelations to enlightenment. And I'm sharing mine as a way to assist with that process. Assist. That's my job. Of course I showed up. Truths needed to come to the surface. And this one was on me. Namaste.